Yep. Good morning, everyone. So, yesterday we learned about how to use the Angular directives, Angular structural directives. In this, we learned how to use ngIf and we used ng switch. How to design and work with these two. What is the purpose of this? Adding and removing of elements. We can add elements, remove elements from the DOM by using ngIf and switch. What is difference? ngIf will not allow multiple blocks. By using ng switch, we can handle multiple blocks. Have you tried? Have you tried that example? I uploaded into classroom. You have to try. That example I uploaded to work with switch, and if you have to try that. Next, in the Angular structural directives, we have ng for. We have another structural directive that is ng for. Actually, don't get confused here. While writing, we are writing small case ng. But here in the heading, I am giving ng uppercase because actually in the library, its class name is given as uppercase only. ng, but in the usage reference name is given in lowercase. That is the reason. So what is this ng for actually? ng for is nothing but it is an iterator. It is an repeater. It is an repeater. Repeater means it can repeat any HTML element. It can repeat any HTML element. So we call it as a repeater. It can repeat any HTML element. I will tell you what is the complexity in your JavaScript. I will show you. See, actually, if you are working with JavaScript, I will show you what is problem with JavaScript. You can see, suppose I will add a simple page, demo.html. See, suppose we have a head section. In that we have a script, and in that we have a function, body load. Here we have an array. Categories is an array. It contains some electronics, footwear like this. Now, actually, fashion, something like this. Now, if anybody asked you like, we want this categories list to be added into ordered list. That means ordered list actually contains list items. Now what we have to do is every category which is present inside this array must be added into ordered list as list item. Means we need to dynamically add items into ordered list. Have you learned how in JavaScript how to do, you know? Question understood? We need to read every item from the list and we have to add that item into this ordered list. ordered list. Into ordered list, if you want to add any item, it should be what type? List item type. If I want to add into drop down, suppose we have a drop down. Into drop down, if I want to add, select is a drop down now. What is the type of items in drop down? Drop down items, what type? Element. Inside drop down, element is option, right? So actually we are writing body on load, body load. When body loads, we have to read every item from this collection. In JavaScript, we can use iterator or looping. Iterator means for where item of collection. Collection is what? Categories. We are reading every item from the categories. So we are reading every item from the categories. Now we need to add this item into ordered list. So in order to add the item into ordered list, you see currently page is empty. Page is empty, nothing is here. I will just put a heading also. Suppose I say categories. And currently it is empty, nothing is there. For every item in categories, I want to add them into ordered list, means we need a list item. Actually in JavaScript, what we have to do is, we have to create a list item. How to create list item? Document dot create element, the item list item. After creating list item, into list item we need to supply that value. That means list item is a container. Then we will use dot inner HTML. We will put that item. Item is category name. That means for every item in categories, we are creating one list item. Into that list item, we are adding the category name. After that, we have to add this list item into ordered list. That means document dot query selector, we have to access ordered list. Into ordered list, we need to add the list item. We have to use a method append child. Append child, which child item? List item, li. This is how we have to do. And you can see a list is generated here. This is what generally you learn in JavaScript. And I after all showed you a simple list item. And in many front-end developer interviews, they give a task like, you design a table dynamically. Design a table dynamically. That means create a row, create a headers, create cells, add data into them dynamically, not static. They will give one JSON data and they will say that design in a table and show. Dynamic table. That means in HTML, we don't design table. We create table itself through JavaScript. These kind of tasks are regularly given to you in any front end or any development environment. Remember, even you are a Java full stack developer, .NET full stack developer, out of 199% in your first job, you will be working as front-end developer only. Understood? 99% at any level, at fresher level, so at MNCs, startup companies, as a full stack Java developer, .NET developer, you will not directly get a chance to work with your JSP, PHP, .NET server side databases like that, because you are a fresher. It is your first project, first time you are coming to work in a software company. Nobody will trust you. Nobody will have confidence on you, because if you disturb the environment without any proper knowledge, the entire project ceases. They will face lot of issues. So 100 to 100% you will be first tested on front end only. Designing screens, designing interfaces, only that job is given to you. You will not be given complex roles, at least for 5-6 months, until they have confidence on you that okay, he now can handle. Every fresher, remember, you will not directly get a chance to work in complex server side database environments in the beginning of your career. Even you have exceptional skills also, you will be kept in the front end development only for several months. Mandatory. Because in project level environment, they cannot trust you immediately. They don't have confidence. Not confidence, it's not correct also, because without proper knowledge on software environment, you working on a project, because of you some concepts are disturbed in the project, complete project stops. They don't take such chances. That is the reason they will guide you with your leads, and they will give you in majority front end development. That is the reason you must concentrate much on front end for cracking interviews, right? Along with your technology, what you are learning, practically you will be asked to design front ends. You need to concentrate. Suppose you are a Java developer or a .NET developer, what they ask is, in your Java.NET, you design database using Oracle or MySQL SQL server, write a server side logic to communicate, and design a front end for it to handle interaction with the data. These kind of tasks are given to you. So in the front end, designing such dynamic lists are very compulsory. You will have data coming from database, and that data you need to present. Then you have to create like this dynamical. Now tell me how to add items into option. Into drop down, I want to add those categories. Then what I have to do is, same iterator I have to use, but this time we have to create which one? Option. Document dot create element. What we have to create? Option. Now what option contains? Option don't have inner HTML. You learned HTML. In HTML, every option contains 4 attributes: text, value, selected, disabled. Am I right? Every option contains 4 properties. We have to use them. Option dot text. Option dot text is item. Option dot value. Option dot value also item. Now we have to add this option into drop down. That means document dot query selector. What is it? Select. Into select, append child. Which one? Option. Like this we have to generate. Now you can see it generates those items here. That is how dynamically tables, ordered list, unordered list all are created. Now imagine like this, if I have to design a table, then lot of work is there. If you have learned that, then you know the pain behind this. Now this is very simply handled in Angular. This is simply handled in Angular. That means in Angular, we have to manage in a simple way, technically. We have to manage in a simple way. Let's see how to handle this in a simple way. That means this is how you do in JavaScript. Now how this can be managed in our Angular? Let's see. I will use here a simple component. Let's add one component. Ng generate component, that is for demo. Skip test. I'm adding a component called for demo. Now we will, what we will do is we will make it in the startup. The for demo is in startup. Let's put in the index page. In index page for demo. I am keeping the for demo in startup. Let's open localhost. For demo is working. Let's go to for demo component. In the TS file, we will create some list here. I am creating how to create array in TypeScript we learned. I will create categories any type, string type array. Into that we will pass some values. Already we learned how to design array. Here we will say electronics. We will say footwear, some fashion, like this I designed. Now I want to display these in the UI. I want to present in the UI as ordered list. You saw how we have to do that in JavaScript. You saw that. Now I will put here categories. Just for all kind of presentations, I will do one thing. I will create a class container fluid and margin top as 2. Here I will put a div. I will here add a class as a column, row. Here I will put a class as col. Okay. Here I have an ordered list. I have an ordered list. Now you see here, I want to generate some items there. It's empty. Currently nothing is there. So what we have to do is, in JavaScript, you saw how much lengthy logic we have to write. Here, ng for can repeat any element. How it can repeat any element? Very simple. If you want to repeat list item, then in that list item, we can write ng for. That's it. That means now this list item will repeat. How many times? How many times it have to repeat? This list item will repeat. How many times it have to repeat? We have to tell that. For that, actually, ng for uses an iterator. Ng for uses an iterator to repeat the element. It uses an iterator for repeating the element. What is, how to create iterators? Actually, to create iterators in JavaScript, you have two options. You can use for in, that is one iterator. We have for of, that is another iterator. For in is nothing but it will iterate and reads all properties. It will iterate and read all properties. Of, iterate and read all values. If you want to iterate over properties, you have to use for in. Iterate over values, you have to use for of. We have two operators in JavaScript. One is in and of. For example, you have an array in that A, B, and C, such values are there. What for in operator will do is, it will return properties, means 0, 1, 2. Properties of an array means its index numbers, 0, 1, 2, it will return. So if I use for of, If I use for of, it will return A, B, and C. In JavaScript, you have two iterators. One is in and off. Off is for values, in for properties. And here, ng for uses an iterator. That means list item, we have to write ng for is equal to, how to write iterator, let item of collection. That is how we have to write. That means what it will do, how many items are there in this collection, those number of times it will repeat. That means if collection contains 10 items, it will repeat 10 times. That's it. That means you see now, I am using a list item. I want to repeat that list item. Then I have to use ng for. What is the condition? Iteration. Let item of collection. What is our collection name? Our collection name is what? Categories. That means item of what? Categories. That's it. You see how many items are there? It repeats those number of times. It is repeating 1, 2, 3. But not only just repeating, every item it reads and it stores where the item is stored in this reference now. That means for every item it will declare a variable and it will store that in that variable. That means where is the result? Result is in this item. Where you want to show it? I want to show here in list item. We put a binding expression and we will add that item. Then you can see it is going to read all items and show. That's very simple. Just only one line. Right? This in JavaScript you do like this actually. This in JavaScript you have to do in this way. This is how you have to do. You need an event, you need to create element, you need to assign values. There is no other way. This is only the way how you do in JavaScript. Right? This is the only way how you do in JavaScript. But now this is very simple. It is simple one line. Now I hope you can tell. I will create another div. I will create a class column. I want to design a select. And in this I want an option for every item. That means which item to repeat? Option to repeat. How to repeat this option? ng for let item, that is variable name. You can give any name. You can give any name. And remember, this item scope ends inside this list item only. So you can use that word again anywhere. Item of, what is it? Categories. Now very important, we want to display the text here. Then we will put that item here. That's it. And you can see that it is going to repeat every item inside a drop down. So we designed an order list. We designed a drop down. You can design anything, just you need good presentation skills. That means you need proper knowledge of HTML for presentation. For example, if anybody asked you, like, I want this list as checkbox list. Checkbox list. That means every item should be displayed as a checkbox. How to design a checkbox list in HTML? Is there any element called checkbox list in HTML? In HTML, there is no checkbox list. But in real world project, everywhere we have checkbox list. Then how do we design a checkbox list? Checkbox list. So what you have to do, that means you need good presentation skills. So what you have to do now, we have to create, I will create here simply class. So a column. Here I am creating an ordered list or unordered list. And I am creating a list item. In this list item, we have a checkbox. Input type is equal to checkbox. And this item should repeat. Then automatically checkbox also repeats. That means we should not repeat checkbox. We should repeat the item that have checkbox. That means you should have good knowledge of HTML to identify which one to repeat. If you are repeating a wrong element, presentation will be wrong. You should know where to keep the item, which one to repeat. That means we have to repeat this list item. NG for let item of categories, and every item name I want to display here. That means I will put a simple span. In that span, I will just put an option. Directly you can give the item name I am giving. And very important, I don't want unordered list with bullet symbols. Usually unordered list will have bullet symbol. I will put a class called list unstyled. In Bootstrap, it is used to remove the bullet symbols, list unstyled. You see now a checkbox list will come. Now similarly, sometimes suppose I need to design a menu bar, buttons. You can design, for example, see here, I am creating a div and just add a class column. Here I am creating a button. This button should repeat. Then I am using G for let item of collection, collect categories. And here I am creating the button have text item. And you can see that the button will repeat here. That depends on how much width you are having, right? How you are displaying the content. I just divided into columns. That's the reason it came to next line. Right? So you can design any content. For example, I am using button have a class BTN primary, and all buttons in the same way it will display. I will use like W100, that is width 100. That means it fits like this. I will give margin bottom 2. Every button have some margin bottom. That's how we generate the options. That means dynamically presentation is important. So you are learning Angular like technologies which are very advanced in the current generation. And if you don't have proper skills of HTML, you cannot complement correctly. You can't design. So Angular will provide simplified ways. Those simplified ways are used for creating your presentations in a more better way. For that, you need combination of all of this. This is simple iteration. This is simple iteration. Let me give you one more. For example, I am designing another div, class column. Suppose I want to design table. Table have a class, some table and table hover, that is the class. Table have T head, table header. In that TR, in that TH, here I say categories. That means a table header will come here. It will display like this. So table have several designs like table dark. Suppose table will be like this. Now inside below this, I want T body, table body. In the body, I want a row. This row should repeat. Then we have to use ng for let item of categories. And in this row, you cannot display content directly. You know that. As per the table structure, row should contain table cell. TD. In that cell, we need to display that item. Then you can see it will generate a table like this here. Here just we are having only one column. Like that you can have several columns with complex data. I will tell you. This is a simple presentation. Means we are presenting a simple array. We are presenting a simple array, which is a string type array with standard values. We are presenting it. But now let's take some complex data. Take some complicated data and let's see how we can present. Right? Let's see. I will first give this example. So example for demo dot component dot ts. In that actually we just created one array. For demo dot component dot html. In that we created this presentation. This is simple collection. Let's take some complex collection. How we can handle the complex data? I will clean up all this again. Okay. Now here I will delete this data. Okay. Let's create some complex data like public menu. Menu is an any type of array. Menu is an any type of array. And in that, you see this is an array. In this, it is an array of objects. Array of objects. This is what actually JSON types. Array of object. In this, we have category. The category is electronics. In that electronics, I am adding products. And in the products, this products is again array. And here we are having, suppose, some Samsung TV. We have some mobile. This is little complex. Now we have category. And the category is some footwear. And here we have products. And in the products, we have some night casuals. So some Lee boot, something like this. This is array. Understood this data? It is an array of objects. And every object contains two properties. What are those? One is category, another one products. What is category type? Category type is string. String. What is products type? Products type is array. That means in an array you have another array. We have an array inside another array. There may be any complex data like that. Right? Now, important, I want to present this. And how the presentation actually, you see, I want to present the data in this way. Number one, electronics. And in electronics, we have TV. In electronics, we have mobile like this. That means a nested list. Right? In order to design like this, footwear in that two. So you have A and we have B. Like this, you need to design. This is a nested list. First, to design such nested list through logic, first you should know how to design through HTML. In HTML, how do we create a nested list? So let's take your HTML. So why I'm explaining HTML and this comparison every time because our genius people without HTML knowledge are attending Angular. Some of our genius people are there without HTML, JavaScript, they are attending, right? And they are regularly asking this question. I don't know HTML. Half Angular is finished, he don't know still HTML. Right? So for such people who don't have proper knowledge on HTML, JavaScript, we have to compare and tell, right? So that is the reason I am explaining how it is done and how it is here, because actually you should not attend Angular batches without complete HTML, JavaScript. You can't catch it. You can't understand. But still anybody is doing, so please verify once you learn your JavaScript and HTML complete and come. But as of now you are continuing, make sure that parallelly you learned it perfectly. Then only you can easily handle. That is why I am comparing every time. In HTML, how to generate a nested list? Suppose we have ordered list. In that we have list item. What is it? Electronics. Another list item, we have footwear. This is primary now. This is the option that generates. Now inside this electronics, we need to create another list. Then inside this list item, we have to create another ordered list. Order list or unordered list, anything you can create. In that we have list item again. We will say TV. So we will say mobile. Like this we create. First you should know your HTML. And you know that its type can be changed now. Type you can set it to A, then it will be like A and B. That means first you should know how HTML presents it. Then you can present here. So now you know this hierarchy. Now tell me here how to do it now. Let's go and let's design here. So see, I am creating here an div. First I will keep it as a column. Class column. Here I am adding first ordered list. This list item, that should repeat. What is it? NG for let item of, what is the collection name? Menu. Now what is the type of item? Can you tell? Type, data type. You see, menu contains 2 items. What is the type of every item? Type of every item. What is this type? Object. So that means this item is of what type? Object type. In that, how many properties are there? 2 properties are there. One is, another one, products. Category is what type? String type. In that case, you can directly present it. Na? So here I am printing item dot, it is an object. Na? In that, what is it? Category. That is presented. You can see it comes here. Now, inside this list item, there is another property. What is that property? Item dot products. What is it? Array. In that case, you have to create an unordered list here. In that, a list item, this list item should repeat ng for, this is nested iteration. Ng for, this is let. I cannot use item again because in outer we used item. I will use product. Product of, what is the collection? Item dot products. That is array. Na? Understood? That means for every item there are 2 properties, which is a string property, we are printing it. There is an array property, then we are creating another iterator for it. Now every product information must be displayed here. That is simply we have to access product. And the product information will come and display here. So we are accessing and displaying the product details here. This is how we can create a nested list. Right? These types of tasks are very commonly given to you. You have to design. Right? So this is one nested. Okay. Can you tell me, is it possible to design such nested list in a drop down? In a drop down, is it possible to show multi-levels? In HTML drop down, can we show multi-levels? Have you ever designed a drop down in HTML with more than one level? No. We can design. Not multi-level, multiple categories. You can do that. We can design multiple categories. Actually, if you have learned about HTML select, I hope you know that select have an OPT group. Select have an OPT group. In that OPT group, you keep option. But majority of times you might have learned only option in a select. But there is an OPT group in option. What is the purpose of this OPT group is to keep all options in one category. All options are kept in one category. Hello, Mr. Busy person. You go out. Yeah. Now, select is having an OPT group. In that group, you can have options. But you might have designed directly option only. But there is an OPT group. This group have a labels actually. In that label, you can give your category name. Understood? Under that category name, you can put all the categories. That is what actually in HTML you can do. If you haven't learned this, then you will not get an idea that in a drop down I can show like that. But actually drop down has OPT groups. So you see now what I am doing here. I will create this as another class column. And here I will say select. Now in this select, we will just use and first OPT group. There is an OPT group. This OPT group should repeat. That means we have to use ng for let item of what? Menu. And in that item, category name should be used as label for this group. That means we will use a property. Property means label. Am I right? If it is label, in the label property, we have to apply item dot category. In this OPT group, you will have an option. This option should repeat. So ng for it should repeat let product of what? Item dot products. It should repeat for every product, and product text should display here. You see now the drop down here, the drop down have group like this. This is OPT groups, right? Majority of times, if you learned HTML5, HTML5 have these OPT groups, options and all. Right? That means, that is why I am saying, right? If you see such designs, you will get confusion how to design. Because you don't have proper knowledge about the options and elements in HTML, then you cannot present them. So you need to have this complete knowledge correctly, right? Every element, what attributes it have, what properties it have, what child elements it have. That is where presentation completely depends on. Okay. So we can create such list. Actually, you can create. Have you learned details and summary? Right? In HTML, we have details and summary. See what I am doing here. I am creating here a class and I am using a column. So you see here, we will put a container here. We will put a container. This container should repeat. Or actually, there is an option called details. Understood? This details should repeat. How to repeat the details? We have to use ng for let item of what menu. Every details have a summary. In the summary, we will display item dot category. Now inside this summary, I will put an ordered list. In that ordered list, I will create a list item. This list item should repeat ng for let product of item dot what products. And here we need to display the product. You see, actually, this details is generated like this. We have a drop down which can expand and collapse. That is the reason people who don't have good knowledge of HTML, they are always confused how they are designing this. Is anything new concept? No, that is general HTML. In HTML, you have such elements. But many times you may not know about those elements properly. That is the reason in real-time websites, you will see some designs and you will get a confusion like how to design. I haven't learned, right? But they are general HTML things. If you have good, complete HTML knowledge, then easy to present the real screens. Because sometimes they use third-party libraries like Bootstrap, and many times, majority, they go with general HTML. Right? Do you know this details and summary? You have learned field sets, legends. You can present this content in every location like that. That means you can present in a field set with the legend. You can present in a detailed summary. You can present in options. This is nested. So this is another example I am giving. This another example, nested iterations. Nested iterations means inside iteration another. Okay. Same for demo.component.ts. This time I am giving the data is little different. So we have the data array. Okay. For demo.component.html. In that HTML, this is the presentation. Now let's take more complex data. And we will see how to present the data. More complex data means here I will show you. Actually, let's clean up this content. Okay. Fine. I will just add this in a top. Okay. I will delete this data. Okay, let's go with more complex data. More complex data means, you see, actually we have NASA, api.nasa.gov. This is official NASA website. Actually, generally, NASA means, suppose we have schools, colleges, and various education organizations. in those schools, colleges, and organizations, generally, they have to teach something about space to the students. They have to educate them on space and planetaries and everything. Generally, now a trainer who is training, a teacher or a lecturer or a faculty who is training, he need to show some photos to the kids, school children and everybody, that this is Mars, this is Earth, this is how it looks like, space and all. Now the question, from where they can get the photos? Suppose you Google about photos of Mars and all, almost 99% all are fake photos. That means who went to Mars and took photos, right? All those are fake only. So who can provide? Who went there? They can provide, right? Who went to Mars? They can provide the Mars photos. That is the original ones. And NASA have that. NASA have their satellites, their rovers on Mars. And NASA, what it does is to educate the world about space. They provide some data open to all. Open to all. For that, they designed this website, NASA APIs. We don't have any ISRO APIs, right? So, because that depends on space agencies. NASA wants people to know about some details. They provide it. Everybody may not provide, security issues may come. That is the reason, right? Now, they have provided. They designed a separate website. This is not for general people. This is for software developers. This is for software developers. It is an API website. You see NASA APIs. For software developers, what they are providing? That means actually what NASA people are doing is they have some data kept in their database with original photos and videos of space and everything. And they given this data to software developers in the form of API, so that what a software developer can do, he can pull the data and he can create a website. In that he can present the data and he can educate other people about space. Understood? That means nobody can understand about this NASA API website. Nobody, only software engineers. Nobody can understand. Even the space scientists also don't know this properly, because their technical team have provided these APIs. Their space people also don't know what are APIs, because this is completely software related. Right now, the point here is they provided some data to the public, which we can use to design good interfaces. We can use them freely in our websites and educate the world about space and others with original photos, original videos provided by the people who are having their rovers and cameras on space. And you see, there is browse APIs. You go to browse APIs, you see they have given a lot of APIs. Astronomy pick of day, near Earth object, it is a web service, right? And you see here in java.net you will learn how to create such web services, APIs and all. You see so many APIs are there. There is an API, you see Mars rover photos. Let's open this API, Mars rover photos. You can see they will give you an API URL. You can see this is URL. You click on that API URL. You see they provide the data. This is data. And see the data how it is. Very complicated. Now what data you have seen now, till now, is a very simple one. A string array, an array of objects. This is too complicated. Now, can you tell me, you see this is in JSON form, JavaScript object notation. In early days, people have to provide in XML form, but now those XML days gone. XML is no more outdated, it is almost explicit, obsolete actually. That means now we are not using much XML. We are majority everywhere we are using JSON. You can see that NASA itself providing data in JSON, not in XML. Right now you can see, observe this data. See, observe this data. Can you tell me what is the type of data written by this NASA API? What type of data it is returning? Object. Have you seen? It is returning this. That means it is returning an object. In that object, there is a property called photos. This photos is of what type? It is an array type. It is an array of, again, array of objects. And in this object, ID is a property. It is number type. Sol is a property. It is what type? This is also number type. Property type means it's value type. Huh? It is a number type. Sol means days on Mars. Now you see camera. Observe carefully. Camera is again object. Object in object. We have an object in object. In that again, camera name, rover IDs, full name. And see, they have image source. And observe here, they have earth date and they have a rover. Rover is again object. That means, remember, one object, one product related details. This is one information. That means that is about one photo. About one photo, so much data. Like that, they have hundreds of data. So much data is there. I am just showing you one API. There are so many APIs you can see. And it's not necessary that every API should return same. Now, as a software developer, our responsibility is to show this in a good presentation so that people who don't know any software, they can understand the Mars photos. Understood? We need to design a website for a complete illiterate of software so that he can see Mars photos. He can know which rover took that photo, which camera took that photo, on which date it took that photo. Understood? Now, if you show this data to general public, it is like alien script for them. They can't understand what it is at all. Completely unknown to anybody. Right? Even for a person who don't know about any JavaScript, JSON type, he can't understand this. Right? That is the reason now our responsibility is to present this. Right? And if you can present such data, so in order to present the data, first you need to understand the data. As a developer, first you need to understand what is coming, what is the data coming, what type coming, what properties it is having. Then you can present. Let's see now. Now how to get this data? Copy this URL. Copy that URL and let's go to our project. Here, first point is what type of data you are expecting. What it is returning, object now. So we will create Mars. It is an object. Understood? It's an object because we are expecting object. Now we need to fetch the data coming from that API. Already I told you. So how to fetch the data coming from API? We will do one thing. On initialization, directly on initialization, we will write fetch method. Or you can write a method and call it. I am writing a fetch method directly here. Fetch, what is the URL? So paste that URL you copied. That complete URL I pasted here. This is the URL. Okay. And dot then. Whatever data comes, response, we have to get the response. And implies what it have to do, it is returning response dot what JSON. We have to convert the data into JSON. After that, then dot then we have to collect the data. After collecting the data, this is an object we have to assign to this Mars. Understood? That means now what we have to do is this dot Mars is equal to whatever data you collected. That means from the API, the data is coming as an object. We are fetching that and we are storing in a local object. What is that object? Mars. But Mars is an object. You cannot iterate Mars object. Mars is an object. You cannot iterate object. In that object, there is a property. What is that property? Photos. You can iterate photos. That means what we have to do now in the presentation. How to create the presentation. Let's go to the UI. Now here I will design a simple Mars rover photos. Okay. In this, first I will just keep you here a table. Just put a class. So in that table hover. Okay. In this we have T head, table header. In that TR table row. In the TH heading cell. You know how to design table. In this heading cell, this row should repeat first. We should repeat in the heading cell. First I will give general data, normal headings. What is the heading? You see every photo have an ID na? Okay, first what we will do is we will put photo ID. Am I right? We'll put photo ID. Okay. Next what? In the next column, we will put camera. We will put camera full name. Understood? Which camera took that photo? The camera full name. We will do one thing. Second, we will put preview. Preview means the photo. In the third cell, we will put camera name. Okay. Okay. Next, preview camera name. What else? So many details are there. I want to get the rover name. See, rover is there. Rover is again an object. Rover have a rover name, curiosity. That is the rover name. So what I will do here, I will put another heading. And I want rover name also. They have 1, 2 rovers on Mars. Which rover took the photo that we want here? See here. I want only these details currently. Photo ID, the preview, and the camera, and the rover name. And see now, I am designing a table body. In that we have a row. This row should repeat for every product. That means we have to use ng for let item of Mars. Mars is not collection. It is an object. In that object, we have a collection called what? Photos. Understood? Photos is an array. That means you see here, this is object. We are storing this in Mars. In that object, we have photos. Photos is what type? Array. We have to perform iteration on that. And every item is again what type? Object type. So, every item is an object type here. In that what we have to do is first cell. First cell means the cell that comes under photo ID. Here I want to display every object have an ID na? I will use item.id. You can see all the IDs must come here. That means all the photo IDs are coming here. Every photo ID. You see first ID is 102693. 102693. Second, we want photo. You see photo is stored under img underscore src. Be very careful about capitalizations and all. when you are accessing data from their API, how they have mentioned the property in the same capitalization you have to give, right? That means now I want preview here. So how to design? In the next cell, we want an image. This image will have src coming from item.img underscore src, understood? Width is 100, some height also 100. You can see that every image will be loaded here. You can see the image will be loaded. We are accessing those images. Size your wish. You can see these are all Mars images. Hundreds of images are there. Everything is coming here. All these are images. I just kept small size. You design the size according to your requirement. So here you see now next cell. I want to get the camera name. How to get the camera name? Observe here. Camera is an object. Na? In that item, there is an object called camera. Camera have a property called full name. It have name and full name. Name is shortcut name. I want full name. In that case, we have to write like this. Item dot camera dot full underscore name. That's how we do. Similarly, I want rower name. In the next cell, item dot rower dot name. It is rower name. It is getting the rower name. In that cell, not tr, we have to use td. Okay, we are designing that. Fine. Now you can see that all the information is ready here. All the details will come here. I am giving the size this as 200, little bit height width adjusted for images. Now you can see it will get that and display here. That means all that information we are presenting like this. We are presenting here. Actually, these are very large photos. Almost 1000 pixels they will be. Right? You can put a link. When user clicks on the link, you can make it open in original size. We will do that. We can add a lot of functionality to this. This is just accessing data. You see, they provided data, your developer's talent, how they present it. Now in this, you can add filters. Like you can put a heading that select camera name, select rower name, select date. If user selects camera name, it will show only the photos taken by that camera. We can filter, we can sort, we can search. Those are not given by NASA people. NASA people given just data. Your developer have to design them. Your developer have to create all the functionality for this. That means I want this clickable. Every photo must be clickable. When they click, they should open the original image. For example, see here. So this image, I kept in an anchor. Understood? Anchor will have an href. Anchor will have an href. In this href, what we are doing, this href I will give as a property. Href item dot img underscore src. That image path is used. And I will do one more. Target. Target is equal to underscore blank. It will open in a separate tab. Am I right? Now you can see that every photo loaded here is clickable. When I click that here, it will open that photo separately here. It opens that photo separately here. That's your developer's design now, how he will create. That means if anybody wants to watch that photo, that means he will just click on the photo. These are all the photos, right? These are all the photos. I click on the photo, it will open that photo. That means in a separate window, it will open the photo. Right? That is your developer's design, how he will create, how he will present you. So this is what you have to learn. In order to present such data, first you need to understand the data, and first you should have a knowledge of presentation. Angular is not teaching you presentation. Angular is simplifying the presentation. This is not Angular's talent. This is HTML talent. Angular talent is simplify the logic. That means in JavaScript also we do like this. In JavaScript also we can present this. Very simple. We have to write iterations and logically. Just 10 lines, 20 lines logic it will take. But we can design this. What Angular is doing, simplifying it. Right? Presentation everywhere same. Right? Angular's talent is not presenting this. Don't give this credit to Angular. Angular credit is simplifying. That's it. The presentation credit is HTML. How you present, where you place. Suppose if it is a shopping like site, sometimes I want these as card likes. Card like thumbnails, cards like all the photos we want like that. This I designed as a table now. You can design in any way you want with your skills of Bootstrap, HTML. We can design. For example, see here, suppose I will do one thing. I will give this example, NASA API. Yeah? And what you do is, this is for demo. For demo.component.html. TS. In that, this is the logic. For demo.component.html. And this is HTML. And one more I will give you here is, I will give you the NASA API's official website link. You can try that. Because I showed you only one, you can try others. Other APIs. So you can try other APIs. But don't expect every API will have a lot of details. Some APIs have only one record. Some API have only one object, right? That depends on what they provide. Okay. So here let's do one thing. Same data, let's create another presentation here. See what I am doing here. Instead of table, I am using a div. Class is equal to dflex wrap, and what I will do here is I will keep this, and here I will add a simple div. I am creating a card-like class with padding 2 and margin 2 like this, and the style, so width as 200 pixels. 200 pixels. This is a card. Card is a Bootstrap thing. Now, inside the card, this card should repeat ng for let item of Mars dot what? Photos. For Mars photos, it should repeat the card. In that card, we will have an anchor. So we will have an href. Anchor will have an href. And we will have item.img underscore src. Target is equal to blank. And we will use here an image. So image also source will be item.image source image underscore src, and height I will give as 200, and here class I will give as card image top. That is the image. Under that we will put a div. We will put this as class card header. In the card header I will keep here photo ID. That means what I will do, item.id. Okay. After that, I will create a div. I will put a class as card body. In the card body, I will put a data list. In the data term, camera, right? And camera name I want to display here. Item.camera dot, what is it? Full underscore name. Another data term is rover, right? Here we have to define what? Item dot rover dot name. Okay, so this time I am designing a card style for presentation, and you can see it will display all the cards like this. This is a different presentation of card style like presentation. And I am decreasing the zoom level. Automatically the number of cards will be increasing in the row. The number of cards will be increasing, and increasing the zoom level, they will be decreasing, right? If you are watching this on a mobile, then it will fit to mobile because I designed a responsive flex. For example, let's copy this. I have a mobile simulator, Chrome. This is Chrome app. In Chrome, you can download a plugin called Mobile Simulator. If you can download that Mobile Simulator plugin in the Chrome, you can see it looks like this on mobile. That means it loads all the data here. On a mobile screen, it will display like this. Everything comes in one column. And I rotate here landscape, then it will display in more than one row. That means it will display like this. That means it fits onto the device. Which device you are watching, it fits onto the device. So in the landscape and in the portrait, it will display in this way, what you have designed. Right, that is flexible designs. That is what actually we have done by using deflex, flex wraps. This is presenting the content. And here I have used, data is same. I have just used, so another example, card style. Not in a table, I have designed in a card style. So this is the way of presenting your content using NG for iterations. I hope you understood this. You have to practice this now. Now what I will do is, with this, we will try to create another API example, like a shopping cart. We will design a simple shopping cart like, with adding facilities like filtering, searching, all such things we will add. Then we can make the data more better. That we'll see next session tomorrow. Right? Tomorrow we'll continue with this. Okay? You have to practice all this. Right?